There's a lot hip to what's happening here in the rideshare story. There's a lot going on here, my friends, that everyone is suing everybody now. First, you had the cab companies that were mad at the rideshare companies, right? Because cab companies are saying, hey, the rideshare guys are jumping in on our business. And they're jumping in on our business. They're using this smartphone technology, and they're picking up fares we would normally have, and it's eating into our business. And we don't like it. And they don't have to go through the same regulations that we do, right? To be a cab driver in Chicago, you have to be an active member of Al-Qaeda. You have to have proper.
Stop.
What?
We're back on now.
Oh, I'm sorry. You have to have proper licensing, right? You have to have a chauffeur's license. You have to keep that up. You have to have certain tags on your car.
Your medallion.
All right, your medallion, and that's not necessarily owned by the driver. It can be owned by the driver, but it can also be owned by somebody else who's then, hiring a guy who has a license to drive a cab in Chicago, and they have to carry certain kinds of insurance, and there's certain safety regulations and billing and things like that, right? Okay. You have to have things that work. The cabs in Chicago have been highly regulated for years and years and years and years. Okay. Then the rideshare guys come in, and next thing you know, you can just you go on your smartphone, you go, hey, I need a car to take me from work to home today. I left my car. And a guy with a mustache shows up in front in a Camry, and you just get in the front seat with the car with the mustache on the front, and the guy drives you home. And you don't even give him cash because it comes right off your credit card that's already on your phone. Mm-hmm. Right?
And the problem is?
The problem is that some of those guys are not regulated the way that the cabs are, and that's making the cab people nuts. And then now, by the way, there are other lawsuits going on here too. The people who are from the rideshare, they're like fighting back, going, "Hey, whoa! We are regulated, but you guys need to get in the 21st century because this is what the people want."
Mm-hmm. And they're disputing some of the criticisms today, saying they do go to underserved areas, and sometimes they'll take passengers to areas where cabs will refuse to go. That was the big argument at City Hall today.
And the interesting thing here is that now you've got some rideshare drivers who are jumping in on a lawsuit going the other way, and Anthony Sanders, an attorney representing them. Anthony, what do your clients look for in this whole mess that is now the rideshare controversy here in Chicago?
Well, it is a mess, isn't it? It's a mess that's caused by our antiquated early 20th century regulations that try to prop up the price of what should be an open resource, and that's your right to work the occupation of your calling and use assets you already have to simply move people around the city. So what we are doing at my law firm, the Institute for Justice, is representing 3 ride-sharing drivers who use the services of the ride-share companies, Uber and Lyft and Sidecar. We do not
Uber
represent
X, by the way? Is this Uber X?
They use the UberX service. That's right.
Because that's a different service because the Uber guys are they're limousine guys, chauffeur license guys with livery plates on them.
Uber has a number of services: Uber Taxi, which taxi drivers use; Uber Black, which the limos use; and then UberX also.
And UberX is like Lyft and like Sidecar, which is it's a guy, it's somebody who wants to make some money, maybe extra money, maybe they don't want to do this full time. They got a car that meets the specifications of those companies. It has to have 4 doors, right?
The companies inspect our clients' vehicles to make sure that they meet safety standards and that they have clean driving records, and then they're insured through those companies. So they are providing safe transportation for people. Sometimes they work only a few hours a week. Sometimes some of the guys work more than 40 hours a week. But what they are doing is using assets they already have for other people. And it's this 21st century innovation that we have of using assets you already have to get some extra income and to serve the public that the taxi companies are trying to crush because they're relying on this outdated medallion model.
Okay. Well, all right. So the economics, let's take that aside for a second. The economics of getting a medallion for a taxi license and being able to pick up somebody on the street, just that's hailing you on the street, right? That's a big part of taxis in any major metropolitan area. And you guys don't operate like that, or these rideshare programs don't operate like that. You have to be called to a place, right? So so if a guy has a mustache on his car, let's say, that's Lyft, right? So they got the big pink mustache in the front. You can't hail that guy off the street, right?
No, you have to go to your smartphone or order whatever the nearest car is on the app. And if you're standing right by a pink mustache car, it's likely to be that car. But you have to order it through the service, and then that car can accept your fare or not, and then you can tell them where you want to go.
Okay. Now, what about the argument that is made here, though, by the cab people is that they have to get it. They have to have a chauffeur's license. That's a separate level of insurance that they would have because they have there are different rules that restrict them. They can't have any alcohol while they're on the job, whereas somebody who could have a drink or two as long as they're not above the legal limit, who could be driving in these other rideshare things. And the rules of maintaining your chauffeur's license are far more stringent than you or me just deciding we want to do this for a couple hours a week.
A lot of taxi cab rules are very stringent. Some of them have no relationship to health and safety, such as the requirement that there only be a certain number of medallions, or the requirement that they be painted a certain color or have a certain type of taxi meter, and they can't use a different service. A lot of those regulations are regulations that don't make sense when it comes to the 21st century, and when it comes to people using their own automobiles to safely transport people around.
Well,
what the taxi owners are trying to do is they're suing the city in federal court to try and get the court to force the city to enforce these antiquated, anti-competitive regulations while the city is trying to figure out a way to get these people within the legal fold and to regulate them in a way that really does take into account the public interest.
All right, Anthony, thank you very much for being with us. Appreciate it. Anthony Sander, an attorney representing the rideshare companies. I'll come back. I got a thought on what he just said right after this.
Whether it happens in Chicago or around the globe, be the first to know about it. Text BREAKING to 68683 and get breaking news alerts. 89 WLS.
All right. So we have the attorney on who's representing the rideshare drivers. By the way, did you see yesterday, cab drivers now are suing. So cab drivers are suing the guys who own the medallions, the guys that they work for, saying that now they should be considered employees and should get minimum wage on top of their percentage of the fares.
Right. They want the minimum wage. They want the
work
overtime
rules, right,
and all that.
Overtime. They want
I'm just going to – this has actually driven me to divvy. I've had it. I'm not jumping in anybody's car. I'm taking the girl's bike out for a ride.
Now, I got to say that –
Wish me luck.
Good luck to you out there. Because I think the weather's perfect for it right now. Oh, no, it's good. You'll be fine. You'll like it. You see, to me, the big issue is this, that the cabs, we already know that the cabs are not the safest way to get around this town.
I know what you're talking about. You have different experiences than I do.
They are,
I'm in the back seat of the cab. I see the Windy City Live. There's Val. There's Ryan. There's G. There's Ro. I mute when you come on. I get a nice conversation with everybody. They drop me off at my destination. They wish me the best of luck. I don't know what you're talking about, these cab drivers.
Yeah. The cab is not necessarily the perfect way to do it, but these like a guy who's doing Lyft or Sidecar or UberX or whatever. I mean, the thing is they don't know anything about them. There's no way to really kind of, there's no licensing that tracks them back to a source of recourse, essentially, other than the company that they're working for. And even at that, it's going to be kind of, it's one thing if there's like a massive, injury resulting crash. That's one thing. Right. You're probably going to find a way for coverage there. You hope.
You would hope so.
You hope. And these people are properly licensed and insured and all of that, but you just don't really know for sure. There's nobody enforcing that. And you're just like, well, get government out of my way. Well, sometimes when government requires things like this, it's helpful so that you don't get ripped off.
I now have a yellow hipster goatee on my car, dyed blonde. Is that cooler than the pink mustache?
It won't be that way for long. Are we getting snow? When's the next snow?
Oh, jeez.
It's tomorrow morning.
tomorrow morning?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't accept that.
Sorry.
Come back with a different forecast and get back to me.
Thanks for the rain, though, so for your driving pleasure in the morning.
That is nice.
Yeah. Anyway, the point I'm trying to and successfully making
Uh-oh.
is that this is that there needs to be some form of regulation here that makes some sort of sense.
I mean, this could be a bad situation. I really don't like the idea of women in particular just jumping into some of these cars because they went on some app or whatever. Everybody needs to be checked out more. We need to make sure everybody has insurance.
Yeah, and that's it. And then let the free market reign at that point.
That's fine.
But there have to be some rules of engagement.
Although the pink mustache, can't we just get some sort of cool flag or something? Because that just looks like you're on your way to a bachelorette party.
That is the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah.
It is the dumb. But they had to come up with something. But why a mustache of all things?
Something about a mustache right there, I think, is probably happening.
They were just looking for something to put on the front of the car. What else are they going to put? I don't know. Make it look like a little person instead of a car.
Well, how about putting something on top of your car?
So like one of those movies with Tow Mater, like the Cars movies, the Pixar thing?
Exactly. They're trying to humanize the car.
Maybe they could put like something on the top of the car, though,
like
right?
ears?
Ears or maybe even
eyeballs?
A diminutive person. Did you ever think about that?
Oh, my God.
They're very popular in entertainment.
Emails to Roe Con.
Every comedian has one.
That is
every
not
like
even
a
nice.
hood ornament, like a midget or dwarf hood ornament?
Yeah. I mean,
it's like the guy from Game of Thrones, that Dinklage.
If
They're
Kimmel
terrible.
and Chelsea Handler can get away with it, why can't I get away with it?
We'll let the little people come in and fight you.
Yeah, exactly.
They're gonna fight me.
I'd pay to see that.
Wrestling match.
Our next remote. Wait a minute, I think Mancow already did that.
Yeah.
That's not even nice.
Just saying. Well, it'd be good because they could do while they're there. They could do things. They could be your navigator. They could be your marketing
They're
guy.
people.
Weather vanes. Weather vanes. If they start twirling, it's windy.
God.
Of course
If they
they're
get
people.
wet, it's raining.
I'm so offended for them.
I'm not saying they're not people. I'm just saying it gives them an opportunity to.
They're not toys. They're human beings.
This is a job. This is a paying job.
To be a weather vane?
Are you hip to it?